Hello beauties, welcome back to the vlog. This week we are talking about communication, and today we're going to talk about effectiveness in communication, which to me is one of the more difficult pieces of this. How do you know if you've effectively communicated it? First, you have to be clear, and everyone has to agree you've been clear and they understand you, right? We need to be consistent, that's important. And now how can you be effective? There's a lot of different views on this, but to me this comes down to leadership. This is the leadership part of communication. I think it's learned, but I also think that there's some nuance to it. So one of the ways that you can make sure you have effective communication is that not only do you say something clearly, consistently, but you also do that. What's the phrase? Walk the talk, I think is the phrase. I'm terrible at idioms. But that you walk the talk, that you say what you do and you do what you say. And that is an effective form of communication. Sometimes I think we forget that there's body language is part of communication, actions are part of communication. It's not all words. It's not all words. How do you make the complex ideas simple? Boy, is this a tough one for an industry like ours, right? Technology, how do you make that so simple? We have a friend who had mentored us in the past, and she said she has a great example of this. She worked on a project where they created inkjet printers. And there was a time in the world when everyone had one at home, and we don't anymore, but where everyone had an inkjet printer at home. And it was a big thing, and it was new. It was exciting. And the printers that really succeeded were the ones that had just two features. Print and stop. Print and stop. It was two buttons. Now, the first ones that came out were covered in buttons all over the top. All the different things you could do, the changing of sizes, the altering of colors, on and on and on. No one used any of them. All they did was press the print button, right? Sometimes we don't want to see all of the things that made something happen. This is where Apple has succeeded in some of their designs, and then Samsung followed in others, where it's simple, there's a lot going on behind the scenes, but we don't want to know about it. So in communication, a lot of that's the case too. How can you communicate effectively? Keep it simple. Something else that is important here, although this is one where I really struggle, is to find your own voice. To find your own voice. So what is your approach? What's your leadership style in communication? Are you someone that is going to listen? Are you someone that speaks out because everything's in your mind? Are you an interrupter? What kind of communicator are you? The most important thing here with finding your own voice is to be you, to be the real you, to be genuine and sincere. Be visible. So making sure that people understand your thinking and understand where you are and that you're all on the same page is one of these pieces too. And you do that by seeing each other. It can't all be done through electronics. It can, but it's not as effective. If you want to be an effective communicator, sometimes you have to talk to someone face to face. And lastly, and I love this one, and I struggle with this too sometimes, but it's listen with your eyes as well as your ears. In other words, pay attention to the cues of the people around you. Take heed in how they're responding. Are they all on their phones while you're talking? Are they responding to your emails? Is there something that you can improve? So listening for that, looking for the nonverbal cues, and understanding where people really are, that goes back to perspective, will be really helpful. We will see you tomorrow.